All right, we formatted our numbers. Another thing you frequently want to format is dates. You don't need to format text because it should already have all the characters that you want in them the way you want them. If you want to concatenate the full name, Volker space Gall, then you concatenate it properly and you just display it. You're done. Text is rarely formatted. What's also formatted though, these do all of our numbers, right? Integers, decimals, doubles, percents, which are really just doubles. Right? Format all your numbers with those. I looked at these, by the way. It's a couple interesting questions, but nothing serious that I won't talk about. If you want, I still encourage you to go through them, and if you have questions, ask. But the other thing we want to format is dates. As we saw, when we spit out dates, we get short date. Right. If you just do, this I guess is lying, if you transfer date time variables to a label using toString, you get this format. That's not what I saw. Oh, maybe it did that. Maybe it did that. Maybe my label's too small. Because my notes never lie, right? Not usually. I'm going to make my label a little wider. Run my program again. Aha! So my label was perfectly sized to chop off the time. Because it didn't fit, right? It was the same size as these boxes. It didn't fit, so C# didn't show it to me. But this is the default format that you get when you just plain toString it. Well, that's not appropriate in this case. If you ever create a time or date time and you don't put a time in it, you'll get 12 a.m. anyways. We want to format a date. We've got a couple of simple options. Instead of just a toString, we can do a toShortDate string. That's available when we type the dot. That'll give us this without the time. There's a toLongDate string, which gives us this without the time. Let's try them. Back to the code, and I'm going to, instead of saying toString, I'm going to take the semicolon out. Remember, if the IntelliSense doesn't come up, it's probably because you backspaced. Control space. And I can add, but I know that I want to do a 2. And there's the toLongDate string. Let's start with that one. Still need the parentheses and the semicolon. Go. Calc. Cool. No times. Got the day of the week, so I know it's good calculation. We usually bowl on Tuesdays, so that must be the right format. So that's not bad. Let's do, I'm going to highlight this and take the long out and put in short. It's also on the list. You could pick it from the list. See what a short date string looks like. What we can't see here is that short date strings don't include leading zeros. So if the month is 6, June, you don't get 06, you get 6, which often is what you want. Those are the only two that are predefined. There's no medium date string, there's no Volker favorite string, there's just short and long date strings. As the notes mentioned, there are also short time and long time strings if you're displaying times. Not an issue in this class, just there for reference. But what if you're not happy with those? And another thing I don't like is I have so for numbers it's toString and for dates it's too short. No. Here's another alternative. Go back to toString. I use toString for everything. That way I don't have to remember what are they all called. IntelliSense helps. But we can use toString and use formatting codes for dates like little d or capital D. Now here, for dates, the little and the capital mean something different. The little d is the same as short date. The capital D is the same as long date. So quick experiment. Little d, run. calc, short date. Cool. Capital D when you're not running. Long date. Nice. But what if you want the medium date? There's something in between. You can create your own using toString. Okay. Create a custom format in here. A single little d gives you a short date. A single capital D gives you a long date. The times are there as well, T and T. Okay. But what if you want a custom one? And remember, our date picker itself had a custom date format. Just bounce back there real quick, you don't have to follow. Here's my date picker, and it only had two kinds of formats, long and short, or custom. If you choose custom and then set the custom format, you can customize the way the dates look in here too, inside the date picker. We're going to format our output instead. There are special codes that you can use. I leave these in my notes. I have them bookmarked so I can find them very quickly. If you use one little d in the formatting code, and there's more, remember one little d all by itself means something else. But if you combine the little d with other stuff, you get a 1 or a 2-digit month number, like 6 or 10. If you use two d's, two little d's together, you get a 2-digit number always, like 06 or 10. So if you always want leading zeros on your numbers, use two d's, and that's for the day of the month. The day of month number. If you put three d's in, you get the abbreviated week name, day of the week, like MON, SUN. And if you put four d's in, you get the full name, Wednesday. And yes, C# knows how to spell it. Wednesday. If you put in capital M's, you get the month number or a 2-digit month number, 06, or the month abbreviated, Oct, or the full month name. 2-digit years, heaven forbid. Didn't we learn our lesson in the year 1999 and the big, oh my God, all computers are going to crash when we turn over the century? Just use a 4-digit year. We're starting to get lazy again. I'm starting to see them again because we're 15 years into the new century. Some of you don't even, well, I guess all of you still remember the 1900s. Right? But it won't be long. I have people in this class going, what do you mean? Why do you put 4-digit years in there? It's always 2000, isn't it?
No way, 90s.
Don't count on it. You can use this. You can use hours, and by the way, notice it's capital M's for month, because the little m's are busy being minutes. 1D, 2Ds, capital H, 24-hour clock for you military types. Minutes, and TT for the AM, PM designator. So for you non-military types, you often combine H's, little h's, and M's, and a TT to say 2:30 p.m. instead of 14:30. Okay. So those can be combined to create your own custom format. So let's play around with those a little bit. Take out the big D there, and we're going to put in our own format. And now this is starting to spill over, and if I put a long enough format in here, you might not be able to read it. So I'm going to move mine down. You don't have to. Remember, the dot goes with it. That's just so you can see it. In here, let's create a custom format that looks like the full month name. 1, 2, 3, 4. The full month name. That's the code for the full month name. A single or double-digit day. I don't want any leading zeros on that. Little d. A comma. A space. And of course, a 4-digit year. Not spelled right, but I think I can handle that. Let's test it. I expect to get October 20th or whatever it is, 2004, 14, 21st. If I change the date back here to September, that's not going to help. Let's go way back into September, like the 23rd of September. Recalculate. Notice the 7 does not have a leading 0. That's all I'm demonstrating there. If I wanted a leading 0, then I add another D to this. And I'll get a leading 0. If you want an ISO date format, remember that? We didn't talk about that? Somewhere we did. Standard format, international. 1, 2, 3, 4, year first, month with leading 0 second, D with leading zeros, dashes in between. You can type any characters in here you want in addition to these formatting codes, and they just get plugged in. So this says give me the 4-digit year, the 2-digit month, and that day, 2 digits. ISO format, International Standards Organization, ISO. If I go back to June, August, oh, I can't go back because I have a min date, but August is good enough. August 1st. What? Oh, okay, there we go. August 1st, August 15th, notice the leading 0, and there would have been a leading 0 if I could go back far enough in time. I guess I could change it to September. There's leading zeros all the way through. Let's create a bizarre one just because we can. Say I want a 3-digit or 3-character month abbreviation, MMM. Leading zeros on my day, comma, 4-digit year, and then in parentheses afterwards, I want the abbreviation for the day of the week. Brad doesn't like it, but looks kind of funky, doesn't it? What does it look like when I run it? It tells me the day of the week in parentheses afterwards. Whatever you can dream up, and usually it's not whatever you want to dream up, it's whatever the user wants. They may have their own company format special one they like. You can create just about anything you can dream up here. Slashes, dashes, a lot of people like dots in their dates nowadays, no problem. It's not built in, you just do the D dot M dot year. Or M dot D, excuse me, dot year. Just put dots in. Spaces, I added a space before my parentheses here. Parenthesis space after my comma. If you don't put them in, they don't appear, but if you put them in, they appear exactly as you want, exactly as you type them, unless they're one of those special codes. We'll leave that one in there because it's fun. Here's some other examples. D is short date. Here's another one with a DDDD. That's the full name. That's the same as, this is rebuilding basically the long date format. DDD, my own comma, bunch of M's, a little d with no leading 0. Similar, if not identical, to long date, but you can build your own. Questions on custom dates. Okay, I'm going to finish up with this, but before I do, there's a problem in my program. There's actually 2. When I run this date may not be set to the current date. Somebody, I think it was Roberts, is not set, right? I don't know what causes that to happen. Sometimes it uses the current date, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not comfortable with counting on C# to put the current date in there. So I'm going to tell it to do it. My league name is missing. I'm going to tell it to change it. When do I want to change those? Immediately, before this form even shows up on the screen. Anybody remember when that is? It's called form load. Many of you have created this method and left it and it's empty and you get marked off for it. Now we're going to use it. To create the form load event, you double click an empty space on the form. And there's form load, and thank goodness it's alphabetical. Here's the description you can use forever. If you want to elaborate on that, you're on your own, but if you give me that, I'll accept it for form load forever. What do I want to do here? First, I want to put my league name in. Where does that go? Well, here. What's that thing called? Nice name. LBL league name. LBL league name. What about the league name do I want to change? That text. I heard it. And what do I want to set it to? We built a constant. Remember? Long time ago? MSTC Keglers. You learned some German that day? League name. This says take whatever's in the league name. There it is. It's got MSTC Keglers in it. Copy it into the text of that label. This happens before, as the form is loading, before it's displayed on the screen. Go. Ta-da. Change the league name. I change the constant. I'm done. To do our date picker, we first have to mess up our date picker. At least mine's messed up. Mine's working, so at least today. I'm going to mess it up. Go to the date picker, and I'm going to set this date to September 1st if I can. Just because. I want to make sure it changes. Then in form load, I'm going to change the date. I'm going to change my date picker, DTP bowling date. What about it do I want to change? Value equals today. This says, I don't care what you think you got in the date picker. Change it before you display it on the screen. Change it, make it today's date. Even though in design I changed this to September 1st, it still says October 7th. I recommend you put that in your form loads of all your Unit 4 programs, because I think they all have date pickers in them. Quiz dates and conversion dates and estimate dates. They all have dates except math, maybe. Right. Anything that's got a date picker and you want it to start at today's date, do it. Write it in code. Don't rely on C# to remember what the current, or figure out what the current date is. Anything that you want to happen when the program starts, you can put in form load. So just one more example. Underneath this, let's say that this dot, who's this? The form dot back color equals color dot, and let's pick something blanched. No, that sounds boring. Burley, ooh, that sounds just soothing. Cornflower blue. If you don't like that color, pick something else. I don't like that color. Okay, there's a little, I thought it would be a lot subtler than that, but it wasn't. Corn silk sounds pretty soft. Let's give that a shot here. That's better. And again, if you don't like it, change it. Or leave it back at gray. Remember, Microsoft says leave your form background colors gray. There's nothing in any of my assignments that said change this. That was the state's program. That's long over.
It's a nice bowling background.
But many of you have done a nice job of, I looked at your previews, your screen layouts, done some pretty thorough work on your bowling or on your gas estimate programs, on your math programs to make them fun or something, professional or dark. That's fine, whatever. I'm not, unless I can't read the text, I'm not going to complain. You can do what you want. It might hurt my eyes. That's not a problem. It's just I can't read it. That's a problem. All right, let's wrap this up. I think we'll be done with this first half of this unit. Just the first half. Did I close my browser? Oh no. I did. And I clicked the wrong browser. Oh, we'll see Chrome. Gonna load. Bounce, bounce, bounce.
That's pretty fun.
All right, the last thing I want to talk about is syntax versus runtime versus logic errors. We've discussed these. I just want to put it all into one nice, neat little package here. These are the 3 different kinds of errors you are going to make. Probably in every program, because I still do it. Syntax errors are the easiest to deal with. Not yet for you because you're new. But in the future, they will be the easiest to deal with because they always have the red wavy lines. If you have the red wavy lines, that C# going, I don't understand what you want. I don't understand this command, or what you're trying to do I won't do, like put an integer into a string, or use a variable before it's been defined, you'll get red squiggles. If you hover over those, we've seen them. What is that? Extra one. Go away. We've seen them. Right? When we leave the dot text off, we get red squiggles. We can touch it, and you'll get some kind of an error message that maybe or maybe you won't understand. But at least you know where the problem is. Actually, it's lying to us, right? It thinks this is the problem, when really that's the problem. But if you hover over, it will say, I cannot implicitly convert a string to a label. And you go, oh, it's a label. Volker said we never mess with labels. I want to change the text. The error messages are not always easy to understand. After a while, you won't even look at them. You'll say, oops, I forgot the dot text. Oops, that's an integer. I'm stuffing it into a double. You'll just see it. Okay. Those are called syntax errors. They're the easiest to fix after you get some experience. Next kind of error is a runtime error. Where's my notes? There. Runtime errors occur when your program is running and then it crashes. Like what?
Like text in a...
Good.
It's supposed to be
Like
number.
text in a text box, or even worse, no text in a text box that we're trying to convert to a number, because parse is now going to be asked to convert that, and it's going to go, I don't think so. It's thinking about it.
It's like, oh my god.
Oh my God, what did you do to me? Right? Additional information, unhandled exception, input string, that's all you get. Input string was not in the correct format. That means all kinds of things. Numbers with letters in them, integers with decimal points in them, text, nothing. We're going to learn to intercept these in the second half of this unit. But for right now, that's a runtime error. Your program crashes while it's running. It hits something that it didn't expect and doesn't know how to, or refuses to deal with. Those are unacceptable in a finished product, right? I don't want my program crashing and telling the user that those we got to find our way through and get them out of there. We will. We'll clean it up when we get to programming logic intermediate. The last one is a logic error, and these are the worst. Logic errors, your program runs, it goes merrily on its way, but gives you the wrong answer. Like what? Give me an example. Matt.
Was what I had, yeah. That's what I was gonna
Here's what
say.
Matt did, right? Do.
Super smart guy.
No, that's okay. He's picking on himself now. That's okay. That's just a mistake. And you run your program and it gives you an average. I still got it formatted for percent. That's also a logic error. What do I really want? Like, if you haven't changed it, you probably want to do that. N1. I wanted one decimal place. Calculate, and I get a number. 303 is that's not my average. And he at least recognized it. If you're in a hurry because the program's due in 5 minutes, you're probably going, good, I got a number, send it. And Volker looks at it and goes, really? Average? 303? I'm going to see it. And you're going to get docked twice. Number one, because you're not displaying the right thing, and number two, because your code doesn't match the design, because your design doesn't say to move the series into the average label. Follow your design. That's a logic error. That one's not so tough to fix.
Yeah.
There's another one. I just changed score 2 to score 1 because I copied and pasted and forgot to update that one. Or I updated it and then did an undo and didn't sense that it went back, or who knows. Run it. Calculate. 302 looks about right. Logic errors. Wait a minute. That's not right. That should be 303. What's going on here?
There's no way of catching.
Okay, and so now what do? And how you look and you stare and everything looks good. Score 1 plus 2 plus 3. Yeah, I'm just blowing right over that because I know what it's supposed to say. So then what do? I don't see it. I know you send it to me or bring Reen over and maybe we look at it and we can't see it. You know what Reen and I are going to do? We're going to put a breakpoint in here. So let's see what this program's doing. Run. Calculate. Bowling date, we haven't executed it yet. So this command here says step to the next command. There's an F10 key. I'm going to start pressing that. Okay, it's a shortcut key. F10. Bowling date is 10-7. Sounds good. Score 1 is 100. Sounds good. Score 2 is 101. Sounds good. 102. Sounds good. I might even bring up your test plan, right? And say, what am I supposed to see in these? Score 1 is 100. Score 1 is 2. Wait a minute. Oh. The debugger just found it for me. Maybe it won't, but if you touch this, you expect 101. If you're working too fast, you might miss it. It's supposed to be 101. This is why you put different numbers in your test plan, so that if you make them all the same, you'll never catch this. Put different numbers in, you go, wait a minute, I thought I put a 55 in there. Or 101 in there. I did. Oh, geez. It's supposed to be a 2. And you go, okay, stop. Run again, test it, now it works. Those are the hardest. That's where the debugger comes in. I don't expect you to be debugger experts. If you can't find the error, try to find it. Maybe you ask Alan to lean over and look at it, say, can you see it? And if you can't, then you raise your hand because you gave it a good shot.
That's my strategy.
A good shot is not compile, I got an error, what's wrong with this? All right. You look at it, try to fix it. If you stared at it for in lab 5 minutes, ask for help. At home, 10 minutes, email it to me. Just zip the project like you're going to submit it and email it to me. Don't show me the error, that won't help. Might not. I got to see the code. And I might not be able to see it by looking at the code, so if you send me the project, I can turn on the debugger and debug it myself and tell you what's wrong. But send me the code. 10 minutes. Some of you are just not going to be happy. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to figure this out. If you're at it for 2 hours, I would give up. Because how long is it going to take me? 2 seconds, right? Is it worth your time? You decide. I'm not going to tell you. Right. Remember my other advice. Put it aside for a little while. Go check your Facebook status and change your Facebook status. PO'd at Visual Studio, right? POVS. Okay, write that down. PO@VS, and everybody knows what your status is. All right. Just take a break from it. Come back, look at it again, and you might see it because you've just been staring at it too long. Somebody said the bathroom techniques already worked for them. Go to the bathroom. While you're sitting there, it's on the recording, while you're sitting there, it'll come to you. It's amazing what happens to you there. Get away from the screen. Take a walk. Play with the dog, whatever. Get away from it for a little bit. Maybe you'll see it yourself. If you email me, it happens all the time. You email me and say, Volker, what is it? I give up. You go to the bathroom, you think about it. I get another email 5 minutes later. Never mind. Happens all the time. That's fine. That's great. But 10 minutes, I ask you to give it a decent effort. Give me 10 minutes. Try to resolve it yourself. You're getting red squiggles. Check the notes. Check the sample programs. Try to resolve it yourself. Reen and I will do that to you. Okay, I know what's wrong. Is that what you did is that what he did in the bowling program? No. Is that what you did in your math program? We'll take you back to your own programs and say, you got the math program working? Yeah. Is that what you did there? Yeah. I don't think so. Let's go look. You have to learn to look in your own programs. Look in the notes. Unless we're in a hurry, then we'll just say, put a dot in there. Dot text. Walk away and move on to the next person. Try to resolve them yourself. Okay. End of part 1. Which means we need to officially assign all that work now. So if you don't have enough to do. So all that work includes a lot of stuff here. I want to have the calculations quiz 2 weeks from yesterday. Still sounds like an awful long time to me, because between now and then you're going to forget all that fancy calculation stuff if we're not careful. Okay. But that should give you plenty of time to do the practice worksheet, this one. Get pretty good at it. Do the real worksheet, that one. Submit it to me. Get it back. Update it. Learn from your mistakes. And use it for the quiz, because the quiz is open book, open notes, open bowling assignment, open calculations worksheet, whatever you got, except your neighbor and Reen. If you require testing accommodation, you don't even need your computer, I don't think. You may use a calculator as long as it's a simple one, not some engineering masterpiece that does modulus and stuff, because I want you to be able to figure modulus out on your own. There's nothing in there. I think a couple of years ago I said you don't need a calculator, and they all complained. Yeah. All right. So 2 weeks from yesterday, so yesterday was the 6th plus 2 is the 20th. I will put it in. Let's just go to Blackboard and put it in. Except for you, right? It's going to be the 21st because you're not coming in on Monday to take the quiz. This is going to confuse the heck out of the Monday class, okay, because it's going to say the quiz is due on Tuesday. But I can't put in separate dates for the separate classes because all my programming logics, thank God, have been blended into one for Blackboard purposes. So whenever I change things, I only have to change it once instead of 3 times. So we're in Unit 4. Shift my focus to Unit 4. And here's the sequential processing quiz. Edit the column. And Alan was just complimenting me because I don't clutter up Blackboard. Well, here we go. Notice the point value, 15. It's not even a whole program's worth. So it's not going to kill your grade if you're not good at tests. Maybe that'll help you relax and you'll do better. It's open book, open notes, can go into a different room if you wish. The date is the 20th. First, excuse me. I knew that. For those of you who are in the Monday class, Monday, Wednesday, listening to the recording, it'll be on the 20th. Hope they're not surprised. So what do we want to do to the calculations worksheet? I would say, let's see, it should be turned in to me by the Friday before, because then there's a decent chance you'll get it back by Sunday and you can learn from your mistakes. You might not get it, or would you rather do them earlier so you have a chance to get updates? Should I force you or let you play with that? That's next Friday. It's like a week from Friday. No, that's way too long. Let's do the Monday. I agree. The Monday before the quiz type of thing. I'm working on it here. I'll find it. I got a calendar. So the 13th?
Yep.
That gives you all weekend, this weekend, to work on that. You just 6 some odd. You know what? For the Wednesday class, I'm going to push it to the 15th. Now, Alan's already written it down for the 13th, and he's not going to change it. That's a good idea. There's nothing says you can't turn them in early. There's probably a good half of you that everything comes in on the due date. If it's done, get it to me.
Sorry.
Otherwise, you're just going to sweat it for a while. No, that's not a sorry. I'm not. That's fine if it works for you. So, calculations worksheet, 15th. Quiz is the 20th. We will do nothing else on that day. 20th, 21st. We will do nothing else on that day. You'll get 2 hours to do a 15-point quiz. Some of you will be out of here in 10 minutes. Lab time. Reen will be here. I'll be here. The rest of you better not be in a race. It's not a race. It takes you 2 hours, so be it. This student in one of the other classes just loves the M&M thing. He hasn't gotten any yet. That's why he's just focusing. Can you get M&Ms for a perfect quiz? Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Not worksheets, but quiz. Absolutely. I'll do it. I'll probably go broke. I hope I do. Hope you all get 15s on that quiz. But watch me. I'll be watching for things. All right. Okay, so we got that date. What else we got on our list here?
Hanging M&M's wrapped around my
The Unit 4 worksheet. I think,
Put it on your door.
let me think about that Unit 4 worksheet. I have to take a quick look at it, see if there's anything in the Unit 4 worksheet that we haven't discussed yet. So let me take a quick look before I make up my mind. That's this worksheet. There's a calculations worksheet, and then there's a regular multiple choice fill in the blank. It also has some calculations in it, worksheet.
Oh, I missed a page.
Really? Oh my God.
One more page.
Still didn't come up.
6 pages. I got it here if you want to look at it.
I don't want to look at it. Hate that is.
All right, the Unit 4 worksheet, you can, this Unit 4 worksheet, you can start working on that, but I'm not assigning it because it's got some stuff in it that's in part 2 of my notes. So I'm not assigning it. What about the programs? I'm not assigning them. But if you're bored and anxious and glad to get back to doing some fun programming stuff, you can pretty much write those programs. What we're going to do in phase 2 is add a welcome screen to the program. So when it first starts, the welcome screen shows up, and then it starts your program. We're going to learn how to do that. We're going to learn how to do the documentation now that there's 2 forms. How do we do form level or project level documentation? What else are we going to learn? Let's take a quick look. There's not that much in part 2. But you can write the program. We just wrote the bowling program. It works. Yeah. Now we're going to make it a little more professional. So that's what we're going to do in the second part. Let me just touch that real quick, and then I'll end this recording. So we got about 12 pages to go of the 38, so we should be a little further down. And my computer's come to a crawl, so, oh, there we go. I was in a blank spot. Here's finalizing. Tab order. Remember the tab order? Our program has a problem, right? When we run this beast, go away. When we run this, where's the cursor when we start? Up there in the bowler name. But when I press tab, we go, wait, what's that? Why didn't it go to the date picker? It's going backwards. Okay, we'll fix that. All right, that's what we're going to do. Part of what we're going to do. We got to fix that because that's not very professional. Then we're going to talk about the focus method. When I click buttons, where do I do next? We can anticipate what the user wants. Access keys, accept and cancel buttons make our program a little easier for the user to use. Anchoring controls. If I run this and maximize it, why isn't it in the middle? Why aren't these buttons parked down here? That's called anchoring. We'll learn how to do that. Add the welcome screen. We're almost done, let it be. And we still have to learn how to catch those errors, so if the user leaves text box blank, the program doesn't crash. And we do some more documentation. There's nothing really new there, we're just moving it. And another example of what happens if the user types commas. How do we get them out? Because it's okay it should be okay for users to type commas. Well, what if they type 35%? If you try to double parse that 35%, it'll crash. So we're going to learn how to do that. So there's a little bit more to do here, a couple more hours. All right. A lot of this I have labs for. You're actually going to do it yourself in class. You don't have to work on those outside of class. There's lab 2, those blue ones are the labs that I'm going to make you do. The concepts are fairly simple, so instead of me lecturing on them, I'll just have you do them. That'll be next Thursday for you, Friday for you. Next Tuesday for you, wait a minute. Yes, Friday is all lab because of advising this week. Do I really want to give you more lab on Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. More lab on Tuesday will be all lab. So Ree and I will be in here and you can work on calculations, worksheets, whatever you want to work on. So really, that's all you got between now and... No, Monday the worksheet's due. Sorry, not doing it. The worksheet is due Monday. Why would I give you lab on Tuesday to work on it? Not doing it.
Unit 4 worksheet?
Yeah, no, the Unit 4 calculation worksheet. Calculation worksheet's due Monday because that's what you asked for. And I agreed. So Tuesday's lecture on this. But it's not really lecture, it's lab. Formatted lab. You turn that in. That lab, this lab, the assigned lab is worth points. You have to turn it in. If you're here in class, we look over your shoulder, we go check, and you're done. And you don't have to email it to me, and I don't have to grade it. I just look it over and say this is good or it's not, and then you fix it. Instead of me lecturing, you learn by doing. Come in and do it. You don't want to try these things on your own. So that's the plan for Tuesday. Got it. End of recording.